Okay, so hi everyone, and I hope you are all doing well. Welcome to today's alumni live session. I am Aima Khan, and I will be your host today. And we are really happy to see you all here. But before we begin, I will like to quickly share what this session is all about and why we arranged it. Actually, this session is part of our efforts to bring students and alumni closer so we can learn from people who were once students like us and are now doing amazing things in their careers. And today we are lucky to have someone really special with us, Mr. Daniel M.Idrees, a batch of 2009 graduate, and now works as a senior Android developer in Germany with over 10 years of experience in the tech industry. But more than just his experience, Mr. Daniel is here today to guide us, especially about two super important things, like how to build a great CV and how to well in job interviews. So this is going to be really helpful, whether you're applying for your first internship, a full-time job, or even just started with your career planning. So without taking any more time, let's welcome Mr. Daniel to take over the session.
Assalamualaikum everyone, and thank you very much, Khan, for the lovely introduction. So you all know my name. My name is Daniel Idris, and this is spelling. It has a long history. Why my spelling is like this, and officially my spelling is something else. But that's a different story. If you are interested, I will definitely let you know. You can definitely contact me in person to know what exactly is the story behind this. Nonetheless, okay, so this session, I first prepared this particular session in 2015 when I was a recent graduate. I'm from the batch 2009, 2010 CIS, and I graduated in the year to 2014, like December 2013. And after graduating, I faced some issues which I didn't know before. Before graduating, I didn't know that what kind of challenges and what kind of thing that I should be prepared of. So in 2015, I decided to prepare a similar session which I am about to give today, uh, to guide the existing students, how can they prepare themselves for the upcoming career or the upcoming life after the graduation. So yeah, this session will be mostly about that, and that also includes how to improve your CV, what to do's and not to do's during your job, and what are the important things that you should be giving importance to. And yeah, let's see how the session goes. And I will be looking forward to your feedback as well afterwards. So can we proceed with the slide directly or?
Yes, sure.
Sure, okay. So I prepared some slides for you. As I said, I made this prepared for this particular presentation in 2015, but as the time passed, I tried to improve it according to the after removing some outdated stuff and bringing them some some updated stuff. For example, this back in 10 years ago, there was no concept of online interview like there was, but not as common as in the today's world. So things like these, I updated this, and the outdated stuff I just removed it from my presentation. Nonetheless, let's see. So I hope that you are able to see my presentation. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, visible.
Okay. So yeah, I have named this particular presentation or particular session as life after graduation, because mostly I will be talking about what's coming up next after the graduation. Most of the students, as I've already discussed about, is that most of the students, they are unsure, or specifically those who don't have elder brothers and sisters in the same field. They don't know what's going to happen next and what to do and what not to do. And some of you might be entirely dependent on your friends, what your friends are doing. Then one friend is researching, and then he's he or she is giving you the ideas about do this and do that, and then the other friend is doing something else. So I've actually compiled a lot of stuff for you guys, which will be very helpful for you. I've already told my name and I've already told my batch. So yeah, let's see. So before moving forward, I would like to ask you, who would like to volunteer? I would like to know, why are you why are you here? What is your expectation briefly? If any one of you would like to share, even the host can participate.
Actually, we just want to like how can we prepare or create or build our CV and prepare for the interview. So this is
Hmm.
our main aim
Okay,
to join this session.
okay. Okay. Thanks for the input. Let's see if I answer your question or I meet your expectation. At the end, I will ask you this. Okay. Before starting this session, I would like to give you a small, short disclaimer that obviously this session does not promise success, but obviously it can increase your chances of being successful. And obviously, the opinions and the advices are based on the personal experiences, and it is absolutely fine to disagree with any of those. So it doesn't mean that whatever I say is 100% true. It's just based on the personal experience, and experiences can vary from person to person. So yeah, short disclaimer just in case. My first question is normally to the students. So, what do you think? Does the GPA, CGPA matter? Any volunteer would like to answer. What do you think? And if it does, like, why? And if it doesn't, then why? What do you think?
Anyone who want to answer?
I can't see the chat, by the way. If someone is writing in the chat, then I can't read it right now. But okay, so I can give you
I
my.
could answer.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think it definitely holds some weightage, but it's not like the entire determining factor. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
holds weightage because it shows your commitment, because you showed up for 4 years and you studied hard to score some marks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I can't see your name. What's your name?
Barira.
Barira. Okay. Thank you, Barira, for your opinion, though. Okay, which is a very good, which is a very good opinion, though. So basically, uh, like as a student, if I tell you, if I'm being a little casual, normally the people who have low CGPAs, for them CGPA doesn't matter, and for those who have higher CGPA, CGPA matters to them. Yeah, that's a funny thing. But in general, of course, if you don't have a good CGPA, it doesn't mean that you can't succeed in your career. It's not like this, of course. You guys all know this. But also doesn't mean that you stop giving importance to the CGPA. If you have a high CGPA, you can get some advantages. For example, scholarships, and sometimes even in your interviews, you might get a little edge. But it doesn't mean that if you don't have technical skills but have a high CGPA, you will get jobs and all things very easily. This helps in the initial phase of your career, especially when you are graduated freshly, and then if you're going for a job, then you can obviously uh, get some edge on the basis of your high CGPA. Nonetheless, so many people who have low CGPAs, you might have seen it's a a common saying that sometimes the backbenchers are more successful. So success depends on a lot of other factors as well, not only CGPA. But in general, what I would say if you have a chance, do focus on your CGPA. I mean, it's not a matter of life and death, but yeah, if you have a chance, to improve your CGPAs though, it will definitely help you if you're applying for masters, for example. If I talk about myself, I didn't know that I would be applying for a master's, but yeah, I mean, CGPA but probably help me in that particular thing. So yeah, it will definitely help you as you move forward in your professional career. Then of course CGPA starts getting a bit lower, the importance starts getting lower because now your experience matters more. But in general, in the beginning, since we are talking mostly about the fresh graduate, it does matters. But as again, if you don't have a good CGPA, it doesn't mean that you won't have a successful career. But try to make it improve it as much as possible. That's what my opinion would be. Yeah. Okay, moving forward, I have a very short exercise for you. So I would like you guys to rate yourself. Like it's a very funny exercise though. Rate yourself like whatever you think, knowledge. Knowledge means technical knowledge on the basis of what, on the basis of you will get the job, for example. So it's that technical knowledge or any kind of knowledge that is more important for the job that you're applying for. Your skills out of 10, your CGPA, whatever your current CGPA is, and your attitude, from -10 to 10. So we'll talk about the attitude just right now, just moving forward. But just give yourself some marks out of 10 for knowledge, skills, and your CGPA. And talking about the attitude, you can be a bit honest to you. Like you don't have to share the answers to me, but just in case. So these are the attitude that I have seen in the student, normally. The first one is जो नसीब में होगा वो मिलेगा. And I don't care तब की तब देखेंगे, which is also very common unfortunately, but it is. कोशिश करेंगे, मुझे तो जॉब आराम से मिल जाएगी. Let's focus on learning now and let's research, plan and study together. So the marks beside every type of attitude just that I have just mentioned over here. So you can give yourself whatever you feel like suits your thinking. It's just for fun, you don't have to be very very serious. It's just for fun. Whatever you think, honestly, just give yourself that particular marks. And then now this is the formula for the results that you have just marked yourself for. Yeah, so knowledge plus skills plus CGPA into attitude. So yeah, I mean, if you have a good result, congratulations. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. Like if your attitude was in minus, then probably you'll have to change that for sure. So yeah, I mean, this was a fun exercise. I hope you guys might have tried this. This was anyway just for fun. It doesn't mean that your result will be in minus, but it was just for fun. So now let's talk about the serious stuff. So before applying for a job, you guys have to make sure that your CV resume does not have any typos or grammars, for sure. And yeah, for that, normally whenever you are creating your CV, uh, if you are proofreading it yourself, you might have a biased eye. So it's better to get it proofread from someone else, some third person. It can be your siblings, it can be your friend, any person who can have a final look on this. Then maybe they can find some typos and grammars in that. So in this way, you can make sure that there are no typos and grammar mistakes in your CV. And your CV should not look like a chat GPT generated prompt. So you might have seen it, it's very easy to identify, if someone had written something from ChatGPT, it's very easy to identify. So I mean, you can use ChatGPT. I'm not saying that you can't use ChatGPT, but you can use it. But make sure that it doesn't look like an entire ChatGPT prompt, entire copy paste and everything. It doesn't look normal, and I feel like it doesn't add any value in that particular site. Like try it yourself and get it improved by ChatGPT. That's a better way of doing it. Use it, of course, use it. I'm not saying don't use it, but yeah, just use it for your improvement, not to do everything on that. You have an outclass CV and cover letter. So for the cover letter, of course, we will discuss about it later in the upcoming slides. But uh, by outclass, I mean a recruiter receives a lot of CVs every day. So you need to stand out, like You can stand out um, with a different type of format, for example, different kind of wording, different kind of presentations. By the way, before starting this session, I asked for like, 5 or 6 CVs from, I'm not sure from your batch or, but at least from your department or some alumni. And those were really, really good. So I'm very happy to see that the students right now, they are doing really well in this particular side. 10 years ago, it was entirely different. So the student I used to review the CVs of so many students, and they were not really up to the mark, but now the students are going doing really great in that particular area. The CVs and the cover letter, apart from a basic things, overall CVs were really nice. So it's nice that the students are not getting a lot of awareness and using the internet pretty well for this particular thing. So yeah, coming back to this particular thing, so yeah, you need to have an outclass CV in cover letter. It should stand out. The recruiter should see like, okay, this is something different that I've seen today. So it should be like this. You have done research about the company, so you should know about the company, of course, wherever you are applying. You should know what is their business model, any basic stuff. You don't have to know each and every detail, but in general, like you should know what the company does. You have read the job description carefully, so most of the people they don't students specifically they don't read the job description and they just apply for any opening or any vacancy that they find. So don't do this. Read the job description carefully and see what are their requirements, and we'll talk about this particular thing as well in detail in the upcoming slide. But in general, you should read the job description carefully, what exactly the person looking for. Maybe if either you meet the requirements or not, you should know this. And your skills, experiences mentioned on your CV is also on your LinkedIn account. So this has happened with me, like quite sometimes, that I'm receiving a CV, and when I check the LinkedIn account, those experiences and skills are missing over there. This should not be the case. Keep your LinkedIn also updated as your CV. LinkedIn account is also a kind of a CV in a way, so that should also be updated. And I don't know why some people hide their experiences. Like it's mentioned on the CV, but not on the LinkedIn. I'm not sure why, but it gives the recruiter an impression that you don't want to share this particular experience with the world publicly. But why? What's the reason? So if there's no reason, it should be there on both. So there's one tip that don't send your CV on a weekend. Apply on a Monday morning instead. So as I said, recruiter receives a lot of email, a lot of CVs, a lot of email, a lot of stuff in their mailbox. So Monday morning, I think, is the best time to send your CV because uh, it's the start of the week, and the recruiter comes and opens the CV, opens the laptop or computer system, checks the email, and your mail would be at the top, right? If you applied on the Monday morning, that would be the first thing that the recruiter would see. So that's the best thing. If you applied on the weekend, uh, it is possible that so many emails would come on the Monday morning, and your CV goes a bit down in the outcome of the pile. So that should not be the case. So it's better to apply on the Monday morning. Uh, it doesn't mean that you can't apply on the weekdays. If there's if you are if coincidentally if it's a weekend, then don't send your CV on a weekend. Apply on a Monday morning. It does not apply to the online portals. I'm only talking about sending CVs to the HR email addresses, or if you're emailing someone. I'm not talking about the portals, online portals. You can apply anytime on the online portals. It's fine. Uh, the second point is a bit uncommon now, but still don't put don't send your CVs to multiple IDs together in one email. Don't put multiple email IDs in two or CC or BCC. It's easier to identify, that the receiver can easily identify that you are, you have done a mistake. Basically, you have send your CV to everyone together. Like this shows your laziness. So don't do this, please. You have an appropriate email ID. Thankfully now, the email IDs are much better. But in nowadays, it used to be very, very bad and embarrassing. So, and people used to continue those embarrassing email IDs even for the job application and stuff. So, This should not be the case. And ideal email ID is your first name dot last name at gmail.com or whatever. That's the ideal thing. But of course, like, your name might not be available. You can add a few numbers, but it should, at least your name should be there. This is my thinking. And proofreading is, of course, very, very important. Very, very important. Common mistakes by fresh graduates. So what I've seen, like, they expect too much sometimes. Uh, Sometimes they have errors in their CV, poor test and interview preparation. Like, they're very casual about the interviews and, like, test or whatever they achieve. It's a blessing that, first of all, it's a blessing that if you're getting a call for even a test or any interview, don't do this. Like, if you get a chance, then be prepared. Like, give your 100%. And if you aren't prepared, then like, it doesn't mean that you should not go. Not going is also a mistake. You can try to like, reschedule it if it's possible, but in general, like, make sure that, like, this is the best, like, this is your chance, and give your best on whatever opportunity that you get. Applying for a wrong job, so, like, I've also seen sometimes, like, people get, students or, like, fresh graduate, they get frustrated, and, like, they start applying for every kind of job that they just see on LinkedIn or whatever, email or whatever, um, from wherever they get the information. They just apply and just send their CVs. Don't do this also. Apply for the job that you are interested in, and yeah, know your worth. Particularly, you can't apply for office assistant or something.
मिस्टर डैनियल,
Yeah.
आप जो है वो स्लाइड, आपकी स्लाइड जो शो नहीं हो रही, लाइक लिखा हुआ आ रहा है कि शो स्लाइड शो विंडो.
Okay.
ओके,
Just
या थैंक यू.
अभी आप नजर आई? Can you see the slide now?
जी जी.
Okay. And now can you see? No. Just a moment. Oh, okay. So you are not seeing the slideshow. Instead, you were seeing the. I'm not sure why the slideshow is not working, but anyways.
It is okay now.
Okay. So ideally, the slideshow should work, but I'm not sure why it's not working. Nonetheless, if you can read it, then it's fine. Anyways, so were you guys able to see my all slides before that I've just
No,
talked?
no.
Okay, so I was just saying and you were just listening, right? Okay. Sorry about this. I had no idea. Just if you feel like something like this, just let me know. So I started with the disclaimer for. I just started with this slide, which I just asked you before. The disclaimer, CGPA. We talked about this. The rating. I think you didn't. If you haven't seen this slide, then I think you haven't done this exercise, but it's fine. So basically, I asked you to rate yourself for knowledge, skills, CGPA, attitude, right? And then these are the attitude marks, like, whatever attitude that you have, you can honestly mark yourself. And then this was the result: knowledge plus skills plus CGPA into attitude. Right. And then I talked about, before applying for a job, typos in grammar, ChatGPT, it should not look like this, outclass, cover letter and CV. You have done research about the company. You have read the job description carefully. Your skills and experiences mentioned on your CV is also on your LinkedIn.
Hello,
Hello,
my voice is coming.
I can listen to you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Yes, I can hear you. Who's this?
आप कंटिन्यू करें.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, and then I talked about you're not sending your CV on a weekend, apply on a Monday morning. You're not putting multiple IDs in two CC, like, send different email, like, send your application in different emails, not in one email, basically. You have an appropriate email ID. You need to proofread everything. And then I talked about, like, common mistakes by fresh graduates. First is, like, expecting too much. Um, Errors in CV, poor test interview and preparation, applying for a wrong job. And then I was just about to say this particular thing, that preferring salary over to bigger picture. So sometimes an opportunity is, like, like, more worth it than the salary itself. It will be, like, there can be a case where you might be getting a higher salary in a not so good company, or a company where you probably might not learn a lot, or might not be, like, investing your career in, as compared to, like, a company where you might not get a higher salary, or maybe as compared to a company where you might not get a higher salary, but yeah, I mean, you will learn a lot, basically. So yeah, so look into the bigger picture, and of course, you can't decide it yourself. I mean, you need to talk to your mentors, seniors. They can probably guide you more. Don't rely on one person. Take multiple opinions, of course, with the people, and then decide. If you have just one opportunity, then of course you don't have a you don't have a choice. Then it's fine. But if you have a choice, then look into the bigger picture. And then, um, common mistakes: not giving importance to skills and appearances. It really matters. Like, basically, it was not skills; it was soft skills. Sorry for my typo here over here. I'm basically talking about the soft skills. So soft skills are very, very important. Like how you enter like, for example, if you are, like, going to an on-site interview, you should know, like, you should not directly go into the room. You should first knock the door, and you should take permission before sitting on a chair from the person. And like, these kind of soft skills, like, when you have to shake your hand and stuff like this. So you should know about these ethical things. It will be very helpful for you. And appearance, of course, like, you should be presentable. It really, really matters. Many people, they don't care about their dressing and stuff, but it really matters. If your appearance is nice, then it will definitely give you an edge over other people. Even if you're doing a job, yes, make sure that your appearance is very nice. And it also includes wearing perfumes, by the way. So it's really nice that, like, you smell good. It's an issue in Pakistan. Unfortunately, people don't care about it. Their dressing, their soft skills, and, like, how they're and whether they're using perfumes or not. So you should smell good, of course. And for this particular thing, what I used to do when I was when I was a fresh graduate, I used to learn from the higher top level managers, top CEOs. I used to see, like, what makes them stand out in like, a lot of people, like, what makes them stand out, how they look different. I was always curious about this particular thing. So I realized, like, the way they look, the way they smell, what kind of perfume they're using, and things like this. I was really impressed with these kind of things, and then I wanted to, like, copy them as well, to make myself look as good as them. So you can also do the same. Not being punctual. Punctuality is, of course, very important. Sometimes the students think that there is no merit in the market, so they're disappointed or frustrated, or I don't know, demotivated entirely, which is not true. Of course, especially in the CIS, like, in the CS market, like, there can be exceptions, but, like, merit works in this particular field, particularly. Not having a updated LinkedIn account, update your LinkedIn account. I've already shared this thing before. Um, Job hopping, which means that changing your job, like, very quickly. I have a particular slide on this particular topic as well, but it means that changing your job every 3 months, every 6 months, it doesn't look good on your CV. So don't do this. Just because you're getting a bit higher salary, it's not worth it. Not at all, always. If there's a serious reason, then it's fine. But if there's no reason, then too much job hopping is like, doesn't look good on your CV basically, and it can be harmful for you in the future. When you will be applying for a job, they will see that okay, you change your job every 3 months or every 6 months, which is not good. So probably they won't hire you because of this particular reason. So let's quickly talk about the CV. So CV is your first impression. It's not a template basically, it's a content. So consider it as like, the your representation basically. The words that represent you, a marketing brochure. So it's as similar to like, that you are seeing a marketing brochure and deciding whether you are interested in that product or not, or services or not. So it's entirely like, similar to that particular thing, that it represents your achievements and everything, and like, what you have to offer. And then the recruiter or the HR or anyone who's reviewing it, he or she will decide whether to hire you or not, or take your services or not. It's your ambassador. It represents you for sure. So yeah, of course. And then ordinary and shabby CV shows your carelessness and laziness. So don't do this, of course. If your CV is ordinary or shabby, then ordinary and shabby. I mean, one of the things that makes it ordinary or shabby is like, having typos and grammars in your CV, for example, things like this. Or you just copy pasted something from the internet, and just like, you made the changes according to your profile, and that should not be the case. Like, it should be really, really good. It should stand out. I used to make my CV on Canva. It takes hours to make a CV over there, but in the end, the result is like, great there over there. Whenever I send my CV, everyone is impressed because they know that they haven't seen this kind of template, or like, this kind of like, graphics and stuff in my CV. So you have to give some time over there. Invest a lot in your CV. So as I just said, show your uniqueness by a unique CV. It should be different for different companies. So earlier, I told you to read the job description, right? So your CV should be according to the job description. Whatever the skills that they are asking for, just try to highlight them in your CV. This could be one way of doing it, but of course, like, there can be many other things as well. But this is just one example of what I'm talking about. So it can be different for that, and highlight the experiences. If you have some experiences, highlight those experiences which are relevant for the company that you are applying for, which will certainly give you some edge over here. If you have a objective or a profile, whatever, like, small para that you write under the header or in the header, it should be precise and to the point. Don't write like, 7 to 8, more than 7 to 8. I think 2 to 3 lines are more than enough though, but don't make it more than 5. So it should be very precise and to the point objective. If you have, don't have to have there, but if you have it. And avoid personal stuff. So your CNIC number should not be there, and your full residential address should not be there. You don't have to write your full, like, XYZ block and not Nazabad and whatever. That's not important. Like, Karachi, Pakistan is, I think, enough. Your CV should be in a PDF format, must not have irrelevant experiences and skills. So if you are applying for a data science job, or yeah, a data science job, let's say, for particularly this field, you don't need to show that you can also do HTML and CSS. This is just one example. You know more, of course. Like, so this is just one example. The HTML, CSS, I'm not sure how relevant is this, but you get what I mean, right? So the irrelevant experiences which are not required at all, they are just wasting your space on your CV. If it's needed, then it's fine. But if it's not needed, then just don't put it over there. It doesn't matter. Some people also put MS Words, like, as a skill. I mean, you're a CS graduate, like, why you're putting MS Word over there? It should be an obvious thing that you should be able to use it, right? So you don't have to put it over there. I'm glad that people don't do it, but just for the sake of example, I was just sharing that particular thing. So yeah, just make sure that you have, like, relevant skills and experiences over there. And yeah, sometimes people also write that I was a volunteer for something, 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 which was not relevant at all for the job that you're applying for. or I was a tutor, I was a O-levels teacher or something like this, which is like, sometimes not very, very relevant to the job that you're applying for. But it is just wasting the space on your CV. Don't put these kind of irrelevant experiences. And then standard fonts, avoid non-standard fonts. Should look presentable and professional. Um, avoid pictures. Like if you want to keep one, which is fine, like you can obviously keep a picture. It's not bad that you're keeping a picture. So if you can avoid it, fine. But if you can't, your photograph must be decent. Like it should not be the shadi wali photo, please. No selfie, no shadi wali photo. It should look professional. And if you want to see the examples of like how a professional picture looks like, you can check LinkedIn of specifically the foreigners, the HR from US, Germany, or whatever countries. Like see what kind of picture do they have on their LinkedIn profile. Try to keep that kind of pictures on your CV and even on your LinkedIn, please. I think I have not mentioned it in this presentation, but also on LinkedIn, your picture should be decent enough. Like it should look like a it represents you, right? So you should look like or give an impression like a serious person, a professional person. So it should be decent enough to like be shown to anyone. And yeah, why I'm asking you to avoid pictures over here is because I mean, sometimes it like we are all humans, right? So uh, we all have human brain, which can sometimes be biased according to the picture that you have posted. Some no one wants to be biased, but sometimes the mind can be a little biased. That's why I was just saying that if you can avoid pictures, you can. But if you feel confident, you can still put it, but make sure that it's decent and professional enough. And yeah, don't forget the LinkedIn, GitHub, and HackerRank lead code profile links. If you have HackerRank and lead code profile links, and a link which can show your profile in a decent way, then of course you can put it. If you have projects on your GitHub, then of course put your GitHub profile link. But if you don't have projects, if you have an empty link, GitHub profile, don't put it in your CV. But if you have one, this will be a plus for you. HackerRank and lead code, as I said, is the same thing. So if you have an empty profile, then it's not worth it to keep this particular link over there. Don't forget the obviously the don't forget the LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important, of course. LinkedIn link. Avoid jargons. This is a very important thing. Sometimes the students specifically, they use jargons in their CV. They don't know. Uh, sometimes we feel like things they are mentioning over my CV is obvious for the people, which is not always true. For example, when I was a student, I applied for an internship, and when I went there, they asked me in which field have you done your or are you studying bachelor? And I said CIS, and they didn't know that what CIS was. That was the point where I learned the lesson basically that not everyone knows all these jargon. For example, this Procom and things like this. Procom, of course, Karachi people they know probably, but if you're applying for example, uh, in abroad, they don't know what Procom is or whatever the event that you have in NED. They don't know about these type of things. So avoid these jargons. One page is the best, of course. Two is okay if it does not feel extended. So if you're just making it two just for the sake of being it two, then of course it's not good. One page is always the best. If you have some internship experiences or something that you can show and you feel like it is important, then it's fine to have two, but one is the best, I think, especially for the fresh graduates. This is my suggested order. Again, this is not something like patthar ke pe lakeer or something like this. It's just a suggested order that I can propose, and normally what we follow in Germany. But again, in Pakistan, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. But in general, just to give you an idea. So your CV should start from a picture, if present, of course, your contact details, your LinkedIn, GitHub links. This should all be in your header. And further in the header, if you're applying abroad, your city and country should also be present in the header so that the person knows that basically you're applying from Pakistan, right? And your city, whatever the city that you have. And if you're applying abroad, this is another thing that you should have the +92 in the contact number. You should not use 0333 or something like that. it should be with starting with +92 so that the person knows how to contact you basically, right? And so the suggested order, the header, and if you have object, I have not mentioned objective over here, but if you have one, then after the header, there should be objective, then technical skills, then work history, professional experience. The wording can be changed, of course, but I'm just talking about the content basically. The work history, professional experience, whatever. It should be after the technical skills, and then education. And in the education, I've seen people have wrote NED University, but they haven't mentioned the city and country of the city. It should also be there. Karachi, Pakistan should also be there. And projects with brief description. Just don't write the top the that your FYP was XYZ, whatever. But you haven't mentioned what does your FYP does for final year project. FYP is also jargon, by the way. So final year project is the correct word for anyone outside. Like as a student, you know what is FYP, but people who are not student or not entirely they don't know about what exactly what you do or what is NED doing, so they don't know what FIP is. So final year project, just giving an example, if you have other project that is also very nice, but just giving you one example. So final year project with the title, brief description, what exactly is the final year project about, and if you have any link, do mention it. Sometimes you have some project which are you upload it on GitHub, so and they are public over there. That's important as well. So also share that link. And if this is a technical project, then you can also mention technical stuff. For example, programming language, whatever tools that you have used, whatever library which is related to that particular project, to showcase that this particular technical skill and now you have used it here in this particular project. So it is a good showcasing of your projects like this. Hobbies and interest. I mean, in Pakistan, I know that many people, they preferred not to have these things because they feel like this is irrelevant or something like that. But in Germany, for example, this is very important because, and it should be relevant as well. For example, my hobby is I like sports. It basically shows to the recruiter that I am basically a active person, right? So it could be gym or it could be sports or something like that. So if you have a relevant hobby, if you like board game, for example, if you have a creative hobby, you like painting, for example, it basically showcases that you are a creative person. So if you have these kind of hobbies or interests which you feel like this can add value to your profile, then of course you can add these. But if you have just random, you don't know what to do in your free time, or if you just scroll the reels in your free time, then of course that's not a hobby, a good hobby basically to to showcase in your CV. So don't do this. But again, as I said, in Pakistan it's not needed, but abroad it really works. Um, Cover letter. Yeah, I know. Even this particular topic, it's a bit subjective thing. Mostly people in Pakistan, they ask you to not put it entirely use it at all because no one reads it. But my personal thinking is, whenever even when I was in Pakistan, I used to write cover letter. It made me stand out. It doesn't have to be a chat GPT prompt, as I said about the CV, and I would say the same thing about the cover letter. If you're just copy pasting it from chat GPT, as a recruiter, they know that okay, you have copy pasted. It doesn't look very interesting or catchy to read about something, so they won't read it much. Then it will be useless. But if it's something which adds value to your profile, as I said, or makes you differentiated from the other candidate, then it will certainly help you as well. I will give you one homework basically. This is one, IDA is one concept. You can use ChatGPT later. Ask ChatGPT that generate a cover letter for me using the IDA concept, and you will get the sample cover letter. Again, as I said, don't copy paste it everything. Make it as per your profile. But yeah, you can try it later whenever you get time. Try asking ChatGPT to generate a cover letter using the IDA concept, and you know what exactly it is. So cover letter is basically an elevator pitch. If you don't know elevator pitch is that you have a very short span of time and you have to describe everything within that short span of time, and you have to stand out in that particular thing. So how would you do this? So In terms of cover letter, it is like, you a recruiter sees the email in front of him, and whether you are able to catch his or her attention or not in that particular short time. So that's the thing over here. It is obviously your best snapshot, like, the best thing to, like, your to show your profile basically. And it should answer to why should company hire you. So you have to basically answer this particular question. If your cover letter is not answering this particular question, then it's useless, I think. And doesn't have to be very, very big as well. While applying for any job, if you are emailing, for example, then you can write the cover letter in the body of your email, and it should be properly formatted, and there's no, like, how to start salutation and the ending and everything. So it should be in the body of your email, and it should not be too big. If it's too big, again, you will lose the interest of the reader. So it should not be too big, but it should be catchy enough. Before applying to any company, ask three questions to yourself. Where do you want to work? Why do you want to work there? And why should they select you? If you're prepared already for this question, this will definitely help you in your interviews. So yeah, do this thing, like, do try to make sure that you know the answers of these three questions before applying anywhere. Negotiation. Hopefully someday you will get some job offer, inshallah. And this will be one thing which is like, I'm not sure right now if you're prepared for particular this thing or not, or if you're aware of this thing or not, but negotiation is a big skill. Yeah, I mean, you can be confident and fight till the end. Uh, you can get this hint from the recruiter whether they want to hire you or not, and if you are the best person for them, then obviously you can negotiate more. Um, I already meant so the second point I already mentioned. Sometimes an opportunity has more worth than the salary. So yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose an opportunity, right? Just because they're not paying you XYZ salary. So if you see like, okay, fine, like let's start with this particular thing right now. And but the problem is that as a student, you don't know, right? Whether you are being like, you are getting a low ball offer, or it's an appropriate salary for this kind of position or not. But for that, of course, you need to ask your mentors, your seniors. Only they can guide you, of course. As a student, unfortunately, or as a fresh graduate, unfortunately, you can't determine it. But in general, like the idea basically, that what I'm trying to say, you got it. What the idea is. Greed is a curse, of course. So if sometime it also happens, like, my friend got a job for, I don't know, I'm not sure what the salary range right now for the fresh graduate. Let's say 50,000 per month. Your friend got hired at 50,000, and you're getting a job at 35,000, let's say. And you're like, no, you know more than your friend, and why he's getting 50 and why I'm not getting 50. I should get 60 because I know more than that person. So why is like this? And you keep yourself like, on that particular thing. No, I will also need 50. Or when the offer is made to you, you are like, no, if you're getting 50, then I'll join you, otherwise I'm not. So sometimes that doesn't work. So greed is a curse, to avoid that as well. But it also doesn't mean that you accept an offer for like, 15,000 per month or something like that. This is also very bad. Like, it's not nice to have this kind of things as well. So I'm not saying to do that, but in general, like, no, you have to keep a balance in between, right? And also remember in your life that the best time to negotiate is the time when you don't need a job. So, but if you need a job, then that's the worst time to negotiate, because like, at one part you need a job, right? And your other part of the mind, it is like, you need a job and you can't negotiate, and like, if you lose this opportunity, what will you do next? So like, so the best time is to negotiate is when you don't need a job. So if you have a job, you are happy, you have spent, I don't know, 2 3 years, and now you feel like your learning is not too much over there, everything is redundant now, and now you need to grow professionally further in your career, then, and if even if you don't get a job right now, it's also fine for you, because you know that everything is going fine in your current vacancy or current job that you are doing right now. So that is the best time to actually apply for a job, because the other person, if they tell you that we are offering you 50, let's say assuming 50, and you're asking, no, if you'll give me 70, then I'll come, otherwise I won't come, sorry. And yeah, like, and you are also confident in yourself, and you are also relaxed mentally because you know that even if you don't get this job, it's fine. You're doing all right now. So that is the best time because you will be more relaxed and more confident in your negotiation. So yeah, I mean, it's not for the fresh graduates, but maybe sometime in your career you might need this particular thing in mind, or sometimes maybe you'll remember this particular thing that what I just told you. You should know yourself, know your skills, know your achievements, know your uniqueness. You should be able to sell yourself. Like why should you be the person for a particular job, right? And learn to overcome imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is like that you are unaware of your own achievements or your own work. And believe me, even so many people who are 10 years, 20 years of experience, even they are suffering from imposter syndrome. There are workshops for against this particular topic, how to overcome this. There are YouTube videos over it. You can see that. So you should be confident enough. So what I have seen in the students, they are asking for 50,000. I'm not sure again what the range is, but let's assume that they're asking for 50,000 and they are worth already they are also worth 50,000 per month. But when they ask, when the HR they ask you, what's your expected salary, and you are 50,000. Now, at this point, HR knows that you are not very confident. Even you are just sharing a number, which probably someone else might have told you, or you're not sure whether how much you. This is the point where the HR can manipulate you by giving you a lower salary. So so if you're confident and you know that your uniqueness and everything, that how you can be beneficial, or what can you offer what the others can't, then you should be able to sell yourself there as well. I mean, there are so many things. Of course, I can't share each and every example, but you can. I'm just trying to give you an idea. Then you can research everything on your own, how to do that. Okay, the interview preparation. So dressing is important. Being punctual is important. Smelling good. I think I have not mentioned it, but it is also important, right? Dressing well, I also mean that even though you will hear people saying that you can be casual for a coding interview, but I personally feel first impression is probably not the last impression, but first impression does matter. So whenever I used to go for interviews, I always used to wear a suit. And sometimes people used to laugh, but I really felt that it worked basically. It showed my seriousness about that particular opportunity and stuff. And I got some jobs as well. So I would also recommend you, dress well. Don't wear this shadi wala coat suit. It should be obviously professional. You know what I mean. And for female, I'm not sure, what could be, because I'm not a female, so I don't know that perspective. But I mean, I'm not sure about the female dressing, but in general, it should be decent enough. It should look like a professional person. So again, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you can Google yourself, how can a female look a bit professional. But anyways, apart from the dressing, punctuality is important. Smelling nice is important. If you're attending an online interview, check if the link is working. Before, you got an invitation, and just check the link immediately whether it's working or not. If it's not working, then immediately let them know. Don't check at the last minute whether the link is working or not. It's a bad thing. Don't do this. And then join the call 5 minutes earlier. I attended the interview once, and I was already there in the call 5 minutes before. And the interviewer was very happy to know that. He asked me why you were in the call 5 minutes before, and I was like, because I didn't want to be late in the interview. And he was very happy to know the fact that I was very serious about it, and I was already there in the interview, and I was very excited and very serious about it. So yeah, join the call 5 minutes before. And also check your camera. I'm not sure why, in Pakistan, students, they are very shy of opening their camera. I think they do in the interview because they're prepared at that particular time. But you should be presentable again because you are showing yourself in the camera. So yeah, make sure your camera is also working and you're looking also presentable in the camera. So that is also important. Confident body language, of course. Don't It should not feel like you are watching a a screen and reading it from there. It should not look like this. So you should try to your body language should be very, very confident. Use your hand gestures and stuff like this, and maintain your eye contact. Yeah, even though if it's online, it doesn't matter if it's online or you are on site. You should have a confident body language. You should know the difference between technical interviews and HR interviews. Whatever vacancy that you're applying for, you can know that whether it will be a technical. You can also ask from them whether it will be a technical or an HR interview, and then Google about what are the HR interview question in general question, weaknesses, strengths, etc., etc., etc. Whatever the HR asks. Um, you can ask the experienced seniors, especially who are already working over there or already appeared there in interviews or previously worked in that particular company. You can ask them how to go whatever is their feedback is or what guidance can they provide. You can of course Google about the interview questions. uh, you should have knowledge about the company. They can ask you what do you know about the company. They will probably, the first question normally is tell us about yourself. If you have already appeared in some interviews, you might have known that tell us about yourself is one of the most asked first question in any interview. So you should prepare yourself for that particular thing as well. Rate your skills out of 10. This is also one question that normally interviewer asks. Your strength and weaknesses. So this is also an interesting thing. We are short of time, but I will be very quick. So you should know your strengths and be confident about it. Your strength can be you are a quick learner, things like that you can Google, of course. This is just one example. You are a quick learner. And weakness, this is very tricky. So now this is a very tricky part where you have to not mention any weakness which goes against you, which avoids the other person to hire you for the job basically. You should not say that you are lazy or you're not punctual or things like this. You have to identify yourself. You can ask Chat GPT what weakness should I give share, which does not look against whatever whatever job that I'm applying for. It's a good do this research on yourself. What can you do? But do mention whatever weakness that you share. Do mention that you are trying to overcome it by doing this. This is also important. So also let them know that you already know that you have a weakness, but you are trying to overcome it. How? By doing this. So this is important. Expected salary, of course, every probably in HR interview, they will probably ask you mostly that what is your expected salary. So you should be prepared. You should know that what you have to say and be confident. Whatever you demand, be very, very confident. Hey, I will ask, my expected salary is this. And at least ask one question at the end. So at the end of the interview, probably they will tell you do you have any questions for us? So bring any type of question. It can be anything do you work remotely or what is your setup, etc. It could be anything, but it should be serious. Look, it should give an impression that you are serious about the company. It can be more questions, but one at least do ask one. Don't say oh no, I don't have any question or something like that. Don't end the call like this or the on-site interview. Don't end it like this. So we just talked about it. I will be going very quickly. I just have two to three slides left. So switching job hopping, I just already shared it to you. Try not to switch on the basis of your salary. Applies to the initial stage of your career. So I'm not saying that you can't switch the job on the basis of salary. Everyone does it. It is absolutely fine. But if you do it at the initial stage without any reason, I'm saying, so if you have joined a company, everything is going fine, and after 3 months you got a job, even though you are doing fine in your current job, and you get 20,000, I don't know, 30,000 or whatever higher than what you're getting right now. This will actually, what will happen if you change your job at this particular point, which should be fine for the timing, but let's say you don't enjoy or you don't like the second company, and now you want to switch again. You lose that opportunity now, because whenever you will apply for another job, they will feel why did he switch in 3 months and now he want to switch again. It should be something is not okay with this person or something like this. So this will give that type of impression. So don't do this. So unless it's very serious, unless you have a unless you have a very good reason to do so, don't switch. This is the one opportunity at the initial stage of career, I'm just saying. After maybe 5 years, 10 years, doesn't matter, but at least for the initial stage of career, avoid that. But again, doesn't mean that you can't switch. But I'm just saying that this is just one opportunity. Use it wisely. That is important. And I already said job hopping is bad for your career because then the recruiter or the person who is reviewing your CV will see that, like, okay, you were 3 months and 6 months and not more than that in one company, then why we should, he will also leave us. Then why should we hire him or her? So yeah, this gives this type of impression. And whenever let's say you decide to leave a job, then make sure that you don't leave a company with a bad impression. Like that doesn't mean like, okay, I won't care or something like that. Just make sure that you have like a positive um, you're positive and with the people you have like good contact, positive contacts with the people with whom you have worked in, and like you leave a company with an impression that they might want you to hire in the future again. So this just make sure that you don't like leave a company like you will never join that company again. You never know, in the future you might get the same manager maybe in a different company, or you might have to join the same company again. So, and also references are useful. So your managers, your friends, and like whomever colleagues that you have, it's a subjective thing that whether your colleagues are your friends or not, but in general, let's say your colleagues, your references are always useful. So yeah, make sure that you have a good terms with them, with the colleagues that you have. Coming to the conclusion very quickly, so business communication is very important. I assume that you might also have this subject in your core, in this particular course in your curriculum. Choose your words wisely and carefully. Like, sometimes like student unintentionally say like during a conversation they say "yar" or something like this, which gives like an impression that you are still immature. No one cares, because for example, if someone will like say such language to me, I won't care because I know that you are still immature and learning. It's fine. But sometimes people feel like, okay, but it still gives an impression that you're still not mature enough. You're still immature and you're not at that level, professional level right now. So try to practice yourself. Try to sound like a mature person. Try to sound like a professional person. So, and you can do that by choosing your words very wisely and carefully. And my personal opinion is like speak as less as you can, and whatever you speak, if you speak less, then whenever you will speak, people will start giving you importance, that okay, this person doesn't speak much, but if he's speaking, maybe it's something very, very important. So yeah, this is one thing that you should follow. And yeah, practice writing formal letters and emails. Right now, nowadays you can use chat gpt. I have mentioned chat gpt a lot because ChatGPT wasn't there like some years ago, but it really have helped people. But again, it doesn't mean that copy everything from the ChatGPT. It doesn't look very nice, seriously. But again, practice writing formal letters and email. And I just mentioned about what used to be my observation with like with the CEOs, and like I just mentioned that particular example. I also used to see or observe how they write their email, why their email looks different from the other emails. I used to observe them as well, and also try to write like them, and used to like observe the vocabulary and the wording that they choose. Uh, I used to observe that, and then like try to use them as well in my email, and that really worked. And you might have read about this direct and indirect approach. So a positive thing can be a bit direct. It's a very wide topic though, but very shortly, direct thing. A positive thing can be direct, and a negative thing should be indirect. You can learn more about this. It is so how to tell a negative news to anyone. How can you do this? That you use an indirect approach. And to share a good news, you can of course use a direct, like direct approach. So there are many other things as well in this particular topic, like for example, when to use you, and like things like this. So if you're using you a lot, then you are actually giving the importance to the other person. But again, it depends on the context, but in general. So you can look further more on this particular topic. This is also very important that normally students don't know. And last slide, during your job, be punctual, dress well, stay groomed. Yeah, hair cutting is very important. Yeah, keep your hairs nice, and like you should look like presentable, smell good. I already talked about that. Whenever you are setting a deadline for your work, try to set an extended deadline if possible, if you are being given a choice. Sometimes people students, particular or not student, but like newcomers, the entry level junior developers, they are underestimating the task that they are doing. So even if you feel like this task is very very easy, don't feel like the other person will be very impressed if I'll do it in 5 minutes. No, try to give yourself some time to understand like why is it very easy, like what's the thing, what's the catch, if I'm missing something, why does it feel like it's a 5 minute task. It doesn't mean that writing one line code, but just sharing like the kind of task that you will receive during your job. So you'll get to know, but really try to get an extended timeline, like if possible. If possible, of course, that's the catch. If you are given a deadline, then obviously you don't have a choice. But if you are being asked, like what do you think, when can it be done, so you can tell them, hey, I feel like it can take this time, because I just need to be very very sure. Be very very careful. Now you have committed about something, now you have to be very very careful about it. So doesn't matter if like, it's very important. If you miss a commitment, then you will lose the trust, and gaining the trust again is very very difficult. So yeah, just make sure whatever commitment that you make, be very very careful about it. Try to not make your seniors disappointed. So one way of making them disappointed is of course not fulfilling your commitment, but it can be other things as well. Like if they are depending on you, and then you deliver something quickly, then you will gain their trust. But if you're not unable to deliver something or not meeting their expectation, then they will be disappointed, and this is not a good thing for your career. I've seen so many people wasting their time during especially the newcomers. When you are an entry level or a junior developer, or just started working, even if you have a free time, try to make sure that you learn as much as possible. like you know do practice on code, hacker rank, or website like this. Just make sure you don't waste your time. Try to learn things as much as possible, because this is the time where you need to shine, right? It will help you invest time on yourself. And yeah, if you have now any questions, please feel free to let me know.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel, for taking your precious time out for us. So, if anyone has a question, just raise your hand. We will unmute you, or you can drop your question in the chat, and I will read it for you.
So if you don't have any question, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm reachable via LinkedIn, and also you can book a one-on-one call with me on TopMet. I can share this link with the organizers. They can share the TopMet link with you guys, and you know my LinkedIn already. So yeah, if you have any question, feel free to contact me. I will definitely try to guide you as much as possible. And yeah,
Actually, there is a
one
question.
question. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
what's your CGPA?
CGPA. Why do you want to? My CGPA was, I normally don't share my CGPA because it's not a benchmark. Neither I want to brag about my CGPA, and neither I want to nor I want to set a benchmark like this. So it doesn't matter. But what I can share in my experience, in my particular class, in my batch, there were people with 2.3, 2 point, I don't know, low GPA, whatever you call, and they are doing really, really great abroad. And I also had people with 4 GPA position holders, or 3.7, these kind of high achievers, and they are also doing really, really great. And what I learned from this observation is that the hard work was the key. They did really hard work for their career, for whatever they have achieved right now. So yeah, that's why I don't want. If I'll tell you my CGP, you'll set a benchmark. Okay, if you want to be me, in fact, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be successful even more than what I have right now. And that's why we are doing this session, right? I really wish that I had this kind of session in my time. I could have learned a lot. I could have avoided the mistakes that I did personally. And of course, you learn from your mistakes. You can't undo what you have already done. But what my intention is, like, you learn more and try to, like, avoid these kind of mistakes and do better in your career.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
there we have a question from Farida Khan.
sure.
She's asking, is a CV format necessary? Like the Harvard format is trending these days?
So it really depends. Um, in Pakistan, I'm not sure. I personally feel that if your CV is presentable, doesn't matter whatever format that is has. It doesn't matter. I think normally in Pakistan, at least in general, if you talk about Germany, like Germany is a bit conservative in this particular area. Just talking about Germany, though, not talking about the US market. US is a bit open-minded, so you can, like, do different kind of CV over there, and they will appreciate it. But in Germany, they are a bit conservative, so they feel like, no, the CV should be properly formatted, like, and this should be first, and this should chronological order, and these kind of things. So they usually follow the Euro format. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly Euro format, but it should be, like, equivalent to a Euro format. And I'm not aware of the Harvard format, to be really honest, but I really don't think that the format actually matters. You can find, hundreds or thousands of formats on internet. Just go with the gut feeling. Just make sure it looks like a, professional CV. That what I think. If I got a CV, I would see that, okay, how, how professional is this person? How professional does the CV looks like? I would prefer that. I don't feel like any format matters.
Okay. Actually, I have a question to you.
Sure, sure.
Should we customize our CV for every job we apply to?
Yeah, I've also mentioned it, I think, but I think at that particular point, the slides were not being shown, no, but it's fine. So yes, personally, I feel that, if you are applying for a particular job, you should have a different CV. It's a lot of effort and lot of work, especially if you're already working and then you're applying for a new job. I can imagine that it takes time. CV creation is a very hard task, and it can take hours and hours and hours. But yeah, I would say, yeah, like, if I were you, I would definitely, in fact, even right now, even today, if I'm applying for a job, I make sure that my CV is different for each and every opportunity or vacancy that I'm applying for. I want to give my 100%, and this is one way of giving your, 100% instead of just keeping a PDF format and just sending it to anyone who is available. No, it should not be like this. So this is one way of giving your 100%. So I would say make it different. Yeah, one thing is important, that if you're applying for a job, like two similar jobs, which are, it doesn't need your CV to be different, for those both, then it's fine. But let's say you're applying for a data analyst job, and then you are applying for a data science job, and then you're applying for a Python development job. I feel for these three type of job, your CV should be different. You can't have a similar CV in three of them, because if you're applying for a Python development, then of course you should show yourself as a developer. You're applying for a data scientist, then of course you need to show different type of tools and stuff like this one. They, for data analysis, again, is same as what I've just said. They have slightly different tools, so you should focus more on those. Your technical skills should have an order, right? So bring those skills on the top, which are more relevant to the job that they're asking for. And when you will have experience in your in your career, then highlight those particular things in your job that you are doing or you have already done in your previous job, which is actually required by the next company. This will also help you, and this also helps you, and also make sure that you do the same thing for your cover letter as well. So for example, if some company is looking for a person who can take over project and convert it to something like this, so you can do in your cover, you can say in your tell you in your cover letter that I have done the same thing in my final year project, or I have done the same thing in my previous job. Like, things like this. Try to make them make yourself relevant to that particular position. And they will feel like, okay, we are looking for someone who knows this. And the person, even though it doesn't have a professional experience, but in the final year project, he have done this already. So this is something can be interesting. Or you have done already done this something in your previous job. Then it can be helpful. So yeah. Coming back to your actual question, yes, I would definitely say, yeah, go for, like, give you 100%. Go for a different CV for a different job. But again, as I said, if two vacancies are similar, then you can use the same CV. But if they're entirely different, then go for a different CV.
Okay, thank you. All right, that brings us to the end of today's session. Big thank you to Mr. Daniel for joining us and sharing so many helpful tips. Hearing from someone who was once in our place really makes a big difference. Also, thanks to everyone in the audience for being here, asking questions, and making this session interactive. This is just one of many sessions we will be doing. So stay connected for more. Take care and see you all next time.
So thank you for having me. Yeah. Bye.